Ladies and gentlemen, I can already tell that this episode of Questlove Supreme is going to be a special one. What can I say? I've known and worked with these gentlemen when I first got into the game. Oftentimes we talk about the sort of pioneering shift change of where hip hop went in the early 90s, what we call the Renaissance period of hip hop. And often you hear the names, Pete Rock, Premier, the Uma, and, Diamond D. Not to mention, I mean, it's not strictly New York. There was DJ Quick on the West Coast. Of course, Dr. Dre was doing stuff. Got to give a shout out to Prince Paul and also Extra P, Large Professor. Organized Noise down south. Like there was a whole J Swift on the West Coast. There's a whole slew of producers that basically built upon what Marley Marl and the Bomb Squad. I know there's a lot of legends that I'm missing when doing this introduction, but for me, these two gentlemen are a part of a movement that often doesn't get enough credit for their level of hip hop production, their grimy level of hip hop production. And, they put numbers on the boards and we just don't say it because it's so effortless. But yet and still, if you watch, you can tell the sign of a good producer based on all these freestyle videos you see from the 90s and whatnot. What's the music backdrop they choose? And I guarantee you, these gentlemen definitely have numbers on the boards as far as just really bringing a sound to New York, defining the sound of New York. Even the Roots worked with him back in '95. But more than that, I just love to also state the fact that despite what they like to let on to the public, these are the two nicest nerds I've ever met in my life. My habit of speaking Elizabethan and proper Gilded Age era English really comes from these two. To this day, I'd say, sir, ma'am, I learned from these two. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Way.
Oh, super way. And don't deny it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Evil T and his brother, Mr. Walt, known as the Beatminerz on Questlove Supreme.
Yeah, I know those guys.
Thank you.
Yo,
Mama,
thank you.
I made it. Mama, I made it.
Kinda, Walt.
You kind of made it.
I kind of made it.
Webcam won't let you be great, man.
Yo, all Walt was doing for the past 2 weeks. Yo, Questlove Supreme. Yo, like Walt was going crazy.
Man, this is just we just having a normal count. Like we're gonna bust it up like we normally do. We don't do it enough, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad because it's been a hot minute. I'll just start with the. I mean, my first question: how are you guys? How's it going?
Good. We're good. We're
Great, man.
we're living. That's what we're doing.
I'm having fun. I don't know about Walt. I'm having fun.
That's all you can do. That is all you can do.
How you having
Where are you
fun?
guys right now
Like,
as
wow.
we speak? What part of the world are you guys in right now?
We are in Bushwick, Brooklyn, the same house
Yeah.
that we
Same crib?
the same crib that my mother brought this bum ass dude home.
That's
to.
me. That's me.
That house, right? This is the house that we made all our records in and stuff like that.
Wait, I have a question to ask because oftentimes I have a theory that whenever someone channels in magic, especially with music, and specifically I'm thinking about Prince and I'm thinking about the RZA as well. They'll do they'll come with a cavalcade, just an entire slew of what I call manna from heaven that they particularly create in a certain spot. In Prince's case, his bedroom turned studio. In the RZA's case, Stapleton, in his Project Basement, making those classic Wu-Tang records. And then what happens is, they hit payday, and then they upgrade, and then it's not quite the same anymore. Is there a specific reason why that you're still in the same, like, is there a formula for you guys that you feel will jinx you if you were to move elsewhere besides the basement?
This was the family house, so we just chose to stay. I mean, I moved out for like 5 years when my son was born. I had moved to Flatbush, but I kept like my records here. I had moved my equipment, but I kept like my records and all my stuff here. So I kept coming back. Plus, E had like the main part of the studio here, so I had to come back.
Yeah,
so
like, it's what it is like when when Walt left. Of course, I stole his record collection.
Of course,
so we're not going to talk about that. But
isn't it kind of like both of y'all's?
Yeah, it is.
Fridays.
Like if we trying to be nice, it's it's both of ours,
50-50 for some reason.
For some reason.
60-40. But
yeah, whatever.
Now like being here, this is like it. Like it's no way to explain it. Like I feel like this is where we belong. You know what I'm saying? Like everything started here, like, and this actual kitchen is where, me, Buck, and Five did our stuff. Like this kitchen and the next room, which used to be Walt's bedroom, now it's the studio. Mm-hmm. This is where everything started, and it's like, well, like this is it. That's all I can say. This is it.
What's the age difference between you two?
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
I'm the older brother.
Okay.
I was the brother that wasn't supposed to make it.
What?
You ain't shit. That's what.
That big. Okay, I got scared for me. I was like, whoa, what are you talking about?
And he was the baby. Like, you gonna be everything, nigga.
Oh my God, he was. When I was young. I was the first DJ of the family, and of course I was the first one to do production. But my mother kept co-signing for E, and little brother always wanted to hang with big brother. So every time my mother would be like, "You're gonna let him DJ?" I said, "No, Ma, I can't." She said, "No, take your brother with you. No." And this guy used to mix off beat, and everything was all over the place. And my mother was his biggest cheerleader. That's my baby. Ma, stop it.
But you know what it is, though? Walt got into DJing because he wanted to. Like, that was his thing.
Right.
And I got into it because I was jealous of Walt.
Right.
And it was like, he's DJing and getting all this attention, and it's all cool. And I was like, I'm cool, too. What you mean I ain't cool? I'm better than him. I was trash.
So Walt,
yeah.
Walt, what was your first musical memory in life?
My father bringing home a bunch of records. Like he used to bring records home all the time because he used to work on construction sites and stuff like that. And he had bring home like a pile of records, and I just went towards this one record, and I still have that record to this day. Diana Ross presents Jackson 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that made me fall in love with just collecting records, and the first song I ever fell in love with, like this song stayed in my head, was Living for the City, Stevie Wonder. That was the first song I fell in love with.
The story.
When you're saying he brought the record, you mean dumpster diving, or just your father would go record shopping?
No, he would someone would give him a pile of records, and he would just bring the records home. So he was doing the original beat mining before me and my brother.
Yeah.
And how many, is it just, what's the family unit? Is it just you two as siblings, or do you have other siblings?
Well, we have a older half sister who lives in Harlem from my father. And then we had a younger sister that passed away in 2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they musically inclined as well, or was it just you two?
Just me and E.
Yeah.
Here's a secret for everybody, and I'm about to embarrass my brother.
Oh,
We
here
love the
go.
Jackson 5 so much, we made our own singing group. And I was Michael.
Yeah.
I was Michael and Jackson. E was Jermaine. My mother used to have 2 foster kids. So they were Marlon and Randy or whatever. And I was Jackie because I was the oldest, and I was Michael because I was the lead singer.
Tito's not getting respect.
And where he was Marlon, and they were Marlon and Tito.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you something. You have to be a certain age to know that for a good 4 to 5 year run,
right,
the Jacksons were like the Black Super Friends.
Right.
And
right.
I guarantee you, like, you know, one of the, like, anyone that had any sign of any musicality, whatever, we would just say, yo, let's play Jackson 5. And seriously, like, we just act like we were the Jackson 5.
Right.
And that was I know Lai is like, I was born in the 80s. I'm sorry, the 90s.
No. We had New Edition. I got you. I'm using it as a metaphor. Like, oh, what New Edition was to you?
Yeah, right.
New Edition.
Jackson 5 was way before your
look,
time.
everybody knows the Jackson 5. Everybody, like,
oh hell yeah,
yeah. Everybody knows what the Jackson 5 put down. Everybody knows. That.
Everybody wasn't making choreography to it on the playground though. That's a certain era.
Right.
Ah, man, they were the first Black Super Friends. So
right.
You know,
and you know,
I was too slow. I got stuck with Tito all the time. So
and you know, I was.
Go ahead, Walt. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but you know, I was amped when they had their own cartoon. Like I was in heaven.
Hell no, yes.
Wait, what year were you born, Walt?
I was born in '68.
Okay, so you.
Yeah, Walt's mad old, son.
Oh God.
Mad old. Yo, you old, son.
Yo, you 3 years younger, son. What are you doing?
No, I'm young.
No, 3 years younger. 3 years younger though. Three.
Right.
So at what age do you think you actually caught on? Like, at what age did Wart like finally get your respect, Walt, as far as like production is concerned? Not production, but DJing. Or were you the don't touch my equipment type? Or were you the
yeah.
Wait, don't touch my equipment type to E?
Yes.
Hell yeah. He's my little, first of all, his hands were too greasy. He always had greasy ass hands, like he ate a pile of ribs and then he want to touch the records. What kind of shit is this?
Yo.
No. No way.
Let me tell you what I used to do to Walt, right? So Walt would go hang out with his friends or go to work or wherever, whatever. And as soon as he would leave, I would walk into his room and turn everything on, practice what I seen him do, add my touch to it to make it my style, and turn everything off and put everything back the way it was supposed to be. And I did that.
Till one day I caught his ass.
Exactly.
And then I got beat up.
All right, so you had a Tito Joe Jackson moment.
Right,
but
exactly.
Was it at least like, let me see what you can do first, and then I beat your ass, or like, what was it?
Because he's a little brother. I don't care what little brother had to do. I'm big brother. You know, I tell you, that moment I had with my mom and him, that was the moment I was like, all right, let's see what he can do.
And I was horrible.
Wow. That man could have came in and did every mix that Jazzy Jeff ever did in his life, and I still wouldn't be impressed. Like, it was whack, Mom. Come on. But I would never give him his props.
You know what was good about that was being that it was the big brother, little brother type thing, it made me go, you know what? I'm gonna bust Walt. I'm gonna beat Walt at this. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna show him. I'm gonna battle him. I'm gonna be better than him. And it made me really like get into DJing. Like it was something else. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought I was the DMC champion the way I was training to battle Walt.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
So you two were enemies first before you decided to.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But you know
that makes sense. There's a legendary sibling DJ team that I know in Philly. Same situation. Brother was like 5 years younger. But the younger brother's level of antagonizing was if his older brother made him mad, like don't touch my equipment and beat him up, whatever, the younger brother would actually take like one of the prize records and put it in the bathtub and just shit on the records.
Nah, nah,
That
records are
sounds
too
dangerous.
valuable. Whoa. That's a death sentence.
Wow, yeah, that's hatred right there.
Like, yo,
I mean,
whoa.
he was also like 8 years old, so you know, I mean, you do
Okay.
anything to antagonize. Like, how did you build your system, Walt, in terms of being a DJ? Like,
We did what we had to do. My mother, first of all, we did the regular Mickey Mouse turntable with the homemade mixer. We did that type of thing.
Okay.
I asked my mother to buy me a turntable. Now, my mother is an old West Indian woman from Belize, so she's like, she don't know A to Z.
oh boy, what did she buy you?
She came home with a BSR belt turntable.
Belt drive. Wow.
Belt drive.
Yeah.
I looked at her and I said, "Thanks, Mom." Right? And that's when I said, "Yo, I got to get my own thing. I can't deal with this woman. I got to get my own stuff." So that's I started like work. We're going into like 85. So I started working in a record store around here, and from there then I'm in 87, I started working at a music factory in Jamaica, Queens. And that's when I was like, yo, I got to get my own equipment, and saved up enough money. I mean, you know, and got my equipment from there.
You mentioned earlier that your father, he did construction. What did your mother do?
He was a nurse at, we used to have a hospital out here called Williamsburg Hospital. And she used to work over there. And then she just started to take care of foster kids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was a lot of foster kids.
A lot of foster kids in and out of
Yeah.
y'all house.
Yeah.
And when you say Williamsburg, not the Williamsburg that I know.
Well,
no.
It's different. Bushwick is not the Bushwick that we know. Like the Bushwick growing up now is a totally different Bushwick than what
It's
it
more
was.
artsy.
Artisan,
Bushwick, right?
artisan mayonnaise,
Yes.
mayonnaise shop on the corner.
Oh my God.
Right.
Baristas and mustaches.
Right. People looking at you like you don't belong here.
Right. Which means also y'all have a nice piece of real estate right now. And
Yeah.
congratulations to that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we will always say this is our mama's house. This is our mama's house.
I tell people to this day, I live in my mother's basement.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because I just love the reaction of their face, like, how old are you? You still live with your mother?
And y'all like have it's a full brownstone and everything, right? Like large.
It's actually a townhouse.
Okay.
It looks like a brownstone, so we let people go with that, but it's actually a 1930s townhouse.
Wow. That's really cool. Generational.
So what were your earliest gigs like, Walt?
Neighborhood stuff. Just in the neighborhood. Like, you know, we didn't really leave Bushwick, you know, and stuff like that. So it was a lot of stuff was mostly, it started doing just the Bushwick stuff, and then we started doing more stuff out of Brooklyn, and you know, it eventually grew after that.
Back in the days, you had to like, in order to like you blew up in your neighborhood,
right?
And after you blew up in your neighborhood, you started going to other neighborhoods, and then you started going to other boroughs, and then you was all city. It's kind of like graffiti, all city. You know, where everybody you're rocking, wherever, like Manhattan, you know.
With your own, you're talking about like block parties and whatnot, or just like house parties and I see. As far as like record collecting, because the thing is that, you know, I know that eventually, like what was the point that you realized? For me, like, because my parents were record collectors, all those records that wound up getting sampled later, like I already had, but never knew, because I just looked at my parents' record collection as like old people records.
Right.
So at what point did you realize, because I'm assuming that when you're doing this in the early 80s, like collecting records and whatnot, that you're just basically getting hip hop records and records to rock the party. Like I'm assuming that you're not thinking, yo, I need this Bob James record, or, you know, whatever, for sampling purposes. But at what point did you realize that, like, were you an open format DJ or were you just strictly hip hop at the time? Like, what were you playing?
It starts with hip hop and then it becomes open format.
Yeah.
So you would buy, like, say, the Bob James record. You would buy the Bob James record because you had a crew. You had the guys who, the MCs, you're the DJ, the crew. So the MCs need something to rhyme on. So you would get Nautilus, you would get Take Me to the Mardi Gras, and you would just buy 2 copies of those.
So you were on that early?
That. Yeah, I was on that early.
Like pre Luis Flores, Breakbeat Lou.
Right. We used to call them Uptown because you had to go uptown to get them. Because even though I worked in Jamaica, Queens, I didn't start working in Jamaica until 87, but like in 81 and 80, you would have to go uptown to like Music Factory on 42nd Street to go get these break beats. And the break beats around that time, they were already putting them on the bootleg 12 inches. You know what I'm saying?
The Bozo Miko stuff.
The Bozo Miko stuff and
Eat Meat to the Beat records, all that.
They were already putting them on there. Eat Meat to the Beat. You know what that is, right? That's Big Beat on one side and Cool back on the other side. Yeah.
And
wait,
you know
that was back in the 80s? I thought that was coming out in the mid 90s.
No,
that was before Ultimate Breaks and Beats.
So Bozo Miko was even out in the 80s?
Bozo Miko came out in 81.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bozo Miko came out. All right, Flash to the Beat on the other side.
Yeah, I was going to say, so when I heard Flash to the Beat being played at like roller skating rinks, they were playing the same Bozo Miko bootleg.
They were playing the green Bozo Miko record. Yeah.
Ah, man.
That was the only way you got it.
Yeah, that's the only way you got it.
All right, let me explain to her.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, let me give a tutorial. All right, so basically, of course, you know that during the first generation of beat digging, you're talking about Bambaataa and Flash and Mean Gene and Grandma was a Theodore. So the first generation, of course, like everyone would try to get their Shazam on and see what they're playing. Right. And of course, if you're smart enough, you don't want nobody biting you, you would wipe the label off with water so no one can see what you were playing. You know what I mean? Before Breakbeat Luis Flores,
and don't forget,
would you say that Paul Winley was the first Super Disco Breaks? Would you say that he was the first?
Super Disco Breaks came out before the Ultimate Breaks and Beats. Well, the Ultimate Breaks and Beats was the Octopus record.
Yeah.
Right. But Paul Winley came out first.
So suddenly in the 80s, in the early 80s, and this was especially for the advantage of DJs, i.e., if Melly Mel wants to rhyme over Billy Squire's big beat or Funky Drummer or whatever as a break beat, someone came up with the idea like, yo, since I know what all these breaks are, I'll just go to the studio, sweeten the mix up a little bit and put these compilations out. And then suddenly DJs were using the compilations called Super Disco Breaks, Bozo Miko. And of course, by 86, I will say the Wikipedia or the Cliff Notes, if you're older, of breakbeat collections was called Ultimate Breaks and Beats. Right. I thought it was Ultimate Beats and Breaks, but like maybe last week I realized I was saying it wrong the whole time for the last 40 years.
Very good explanation. Very good.
The reason why a lot of once you get to like kind of past the Rick Rubin, Larry Smith, Marley Marl period of hip hop, soon as you get to like the Paul C period, the Boogie Down Productions Criminal Minded period, the early Paid in Full period, suddenly you notice like everyone's using the same thing. Like they're using that. Basically, it's a 25 volume breakbeat set with 6 to 7 songs on them each. As a DJ, you can go back and forth and rock a party. And later, as a producer, you can sample those things. So actually, full circle, what makes the Beatminerz and the aforementioned Renaissance period that I mentioned earlier, you know, Large Professor, Q-Tip Tribe, whatever. There's came a point, especially after Yo MTV Raps, where everybody was eating from the same restaurant. And suddenly, you know, starting with Premier, starting with Jazzy Jeff, starting with these guys, starting with Large Professor, suddenly they were like, it's the hip hop version of what I refer to as Dogma 95, which is like a filmmaking technique in which you put these challenges on yourself. So suddenly, instead of getting shit from Ultimate Beats and Breaks, you're going to your library to those records that no one wants to touch. You're going to your parents' jazz collection that nobody wants to touch. You're going to the salvage. You're doing your own digging for records outside of the cheat sheet. And so,
which made that whole idea of those compilations obsolete. It's like it was like no more.
No, I mean they're still around. Matter of fact, they're on Spotify, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Wow.
But what's weird for Spotify is like I'm used to the texture of like some of these breaks being like second generation. Like there's a certain griminess to it when you sample like "Give It Up or Turn It Loose" by James Brown from that compilation. That it's almost too clean when you take it from a clear digital master version. But what I'm amazed at is that I thought, now my dumb ass didn't know about breakbeats. Shout out to Damon Bennett, who's a Philadelphia musician, plays with like Floetry and Jill Scott. He's the one that put me on the breakbeats. I thought like Bozo Miko and all that stuff came out in like 89, because I didn't discover sampling until, you know, the Stevie Wonder jamming on the one thing. But now, all right, whatever. I guarantee you 90% of hip hop generation didn't know about sampling until the Cosby Show. But I'm mind blown. I'm mind blown that you guys are revealing to me that all those compilations came out in the early 80s. Wow.
Yeah.
They made it easier for the DJs to go get all these records. Instead of searching for them, they put them on one compilation so you don't have to break your neck. Like Rockin' in the Pocket. The original Rockin' in the Pocket.
And they put it on 45 for you.
They put it on 45 for you. Right. Yeah. So, yeah.
The cheat sheet definitely was dope. Well, the Ultimate Breaks and Beats and, you know, the Paul Winley stuff. You know, it was dope because as a DJ, I didn't have to carry a bunch of albums now. We just carried that one album or the two albums, you know.
Right. Yeah. So at what point did you realize that there's a world out of it? Because I feel like this is what defines you guys. Because Ronnie Laws is not on Ultimate Beats and Breaks.
I'm going to tell you what made everybody change their whole thing. I mean, it's mostly the whole native tongue, the JBs, Tribe, De La movement. But whenever you pick up a break beat to use or whatever, I always feel like Diamond D is looking over your shoulder saying, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't sample that. You know what I'm saying? So you really trying to impress all the guys that came before you.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is instead of looping every James Brown record or every George Clinton record, you want to go left and go, yo, I got this. So then they go, like when you're the guy who puts the world up on a drum beat or on a groove, it's like, oh, wait a minute, we gotta watch these guys. Like when y'all came out with the Clones beat with that surprise joint.
Yeah.
Come on, man, you guys opened up a whole door.
But that trickled down. Y'all know that trickled down all the way down to like the folks who listen to the young kids who now are redigging into their parents' crates, making their own compilations. I'm saying this as I remember doing this for my little boyfriend, like, and challenging him with our little slow jam, you know, mixes that we make. Cause I got my daddy's records and I understand this George Benson record better now.
Oh, you make mixes for your bro?
I did. The cassette and everything. Pause. I don't want that one. Yes.
She said my little boyfriend. My little boyfriend. That was the best
shout
part.
out to Gabron. He was
glossed
short.
over that.
Yeah.
Oh, he was short. All right. So what is the introduction to production with you two? Like where's the genesis?
I was just dibbling and dabbling in production, but I never really took it serious. I had a MC from around here. His name was Rock J. He passed away in 90, I think he passed away. And we were just dibbling and dabbling in music. So I never really took it serious. So like I said, this is when I was working in a music factory. So I was cool with a lot of the artists. So one day, Delight from Stetsasonic came in and he gave me a black cassette tape. He said, yo, Walt, you got to listen to this cassette tape. This was 1988. I said, what's on this cassette? He said, yo, trust me, I'm not going to tell you what's on this cassette, but you got to hear this. This is incredible. I popped the cassette in. Remember, it's an all-black cassette. It takes a nation of millions to hold us back. And I heard that album.
Wow.
From front to end. This was before the album got released.
Right.
When I heard that album, that whole album changed my life. And when I heard that, I said, yo, this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to be a producer. I want to make beats. And that was the beginning of the Beatminerz. That right there.
Yep. And, you know, little brother follows big brother.
Right.
So when Walt got into production, I was like, I'm better than him. So I got into production.
What equipment were y'all using at that time? What did you start on?
Pause button tapes.
Pause button tapes, and then SK1s, and then
the SK1.
Yep, SK100, and
we had it's funny, we had an SK1, and then there was a Yamaha joint that looked like an SK1.
That was
longer.
longer.
It was cleaner, and it was cleaner.
Yes.
Right.
I can't remember. I gotta try to remember the.
I have that Yamaha. It's like 7 seconds and way cleaner. Yes.
Then we got an SK8. Then we got an SK100.
Yeah, because whatever the sampler of the moment was, we would go out and get it.
Yeah,
we went and got it.
And then we finally got Walt came home one day with the Casio RZ1 drum machine, which is the hi-hat, the nicest smooth hi-hat that they use in every record is from that machine.
30% of 3 Feet High and Rising.
I believe that. Yeah.
Was made on a Casio SK1.
Talking about Ahmir, you talking about like literally the Casio, like the key.
So I'm taking it back to the Cosby Show. I'm telling you, when we saw that Jamming on the One video, the Jamming on the One commercial, or whatever, the Jamming on the One Stevie. Oh God, I'm sorry. Back in the day, people, back when he was a law-abiding citizen.
Oh God, we got to explain this.
Dude, it's 2024.
Oh, you're right. You should. You know, you're right. Go ahead.
And they ain't showing reruns like that unless you're TV1.
TV1.
Right, TV1 always shows
it. There's an episode of the Cosby Show where Theo and Denise, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and Lisa Bonet.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Get in a car accident, and of course, the limo is Stevie Wonder's.
They crash into Stevie. Go ahead.
Yes, they crash into Stevie to get out of a lawsuit. Stevie invites them to a studio session, no litigious action. And at the studio, Stevie Wonder samples the entire Huxtable household. And that, to me, opened up just a portal that none of us knew existed. Were you of age at the time, Fonte, when that episode came on? Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah. Well,
baby?
Yeah, Jamming on the One.
I mean, we're of the same generation, but I would be the older brother of your, like, you know, so I don't know if that hit you. That shit came on when I was 14. So
no, I remember, just seeing the sampling and like the Synclavier, because there was a music store in the mall at that time, and I would go mess around with it around the DX7. It was around that same kind of era, the Yamaha DX7.
Okay.
And so I was on all that shit, bro.
Yeah. So at the time in '86. The Casio SK1 was an affordable, cheap toy keyboard that had 3 seconds of sampling. Yeah. Like, did you ever have an SK1, Bill?
Yeah, I have one right over here.
No, when you was a kid, man.
No way. Yo, I told you really had one right now.
Wait, you have one right now?
Yeah, I think so.
No way.
Look at all them daggone. Look at all that.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's a studio back there.
See, he'll show his. You ain't showing yours.
I forgot. I don't. I used to, but it was the thing that we first all played on.
Yeah, I mean, but back then I just put like curse words in it. Shit.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
And you could do your bossa nova shit.
Right, exactly. And then suddenly we realized that it can sample records, and then.
Wait, where was the microphone on this thing that you could sample into? Was it an external or internal?
There was an internal microphone. Like sometimes you will put your headphones on top of the mic. Like the purpose again was for you to just say one word.
Oh,
boo.
Bill.
I got this one. It's the same thing.
Oh, that's
That's the
a real
Yamaha
nice
right
one.
there.
Yamaha joint.
That's the Yamaha joint.
That's
like
how I know
3 rows of
grew
buttons.
up with money, Bill.
Yeah, that's 3 rows of buttons. I had
That's
one
how
row
you know
of
I grew up
buttons.
with money.
Because I would ask my parents for the Yamaha joint, which was like $100 more, and they were like, no. You're getting the price mark off Casio SK1.
And I think the
God damn
Yamaha
it.
had an input jack too.
Well, a new version of the SK1 had an import jack. Oh God, I can hear our ratings going down. Like, are they going to stay on this for an hour? Sorry.
I'm about to take this out. We're going to do a
Nerd
whole
talk.
tutorial and unboxing. Here we go.
Nerd talk, people. Nerd talk.
This is all straight there.
So do you? I always ask this of every established producer. Do you still have a collection of like your first ever beats?
No. Maybe E, but I know.
You're lying.
I have the cassette of Black Moon's first demos.
Okay.
You know, I think that's as far as it goes. I probably might have a beat cassette in one of my boxes over there.
Wait, can we ask Walt when was the moment when he got some respect on his name for you?
Well, he started DJing in the neighborhood, and a lot of people was, gravitating towards him and stuff like that, and he was making a name. So he just kept going. He really was going hard with it. When I was working in Queens, he was building his name up around the way. Because he even worked in a record store around here with Tony Touch. And
Tony Touch actually came after.
Oh, okay.
He stole my job. Nah.
So he came out, like he started building his name up while, I was out in Queens working.
Yeah.
Well, I would always hear shout outs to you guys on various rap songs.
Right.
Like Fife shouting you guys out on Trying to Lounge at the Numb. He's scared of Mr. Walt.
Phony rappers.
Yeah.
Right. So were you guys basically the go-to? There's always like before. Were you guys the tastemakers? Like, I go to the record store and then I go to you and be like, all right, what do I need? And then
that's the way we were.
Yeah.
And then some people would bring like Biz used to bring his records in to test it in the record store. Biz and LL used to bring their stuff to the Music Factory to test their records before it came out. Like,
why, you guys had a better system, or
because Music Factory was where everybody used to be at. So Biz, every time Biz would do something, he would bring it. Yo, this is this. Like, when he came down, he played Vapors, but Vapors wasn't Vapors. Vapors was, this is something for the radio.
Wow. Oh, the beat of this is something for the radio.
Right, the beat, right. And Vapors was the beat, it was this is something for the radio. Pickin' Boogers had the Ashley's Roach Clip beat behind it, but he changed it because Eric B. and Rakim. And like everybody would come and bring their stuff. The LL would come. When LL was working on Mama Said Knock You Out, he bring Eat 'em Up L, Mr. Controversy, which never came out.
Okay.
And it was another song. I forgot what the other song was. But they will come and test their records at the store.
And just look for a reaction of people there shopping.
Right.
Can you give me like your top 5 preview moments of that level? Like when someone brought some shit in and you're like, holy shit, what is this?
The Biz used to bring a lot of stuff to the store. I remember Large Professor bringing the first Main Source 12-inch. Looking at Watch Roger do his thing. Yeah, Watch Roger do his thing. Oh man, Super Lover Seed bringing Due to James, Audio 2 bringing Top Billing. Everybody would just come and bring their stuff.
Wait, time out. I have a question though.
Yes.
Because everyone pretty much knows, or at least those that are in the know that Top Billing was just like a B-side, and they were really trying to push I Like Cherries. Were they trying to push I Like Cherries first?
No, Top Billing had was making a somewhat of a buzz, so they was pushing Top Billing.
Okay.
Like Top Billing made a noise in the clubs and on radio. Like you know, so when they was actually, because they would sell their records on consignment, meaning, hey, we'll give you a box of records. We won't pay them until we sell the whole box of records. Those records were going out of the store.
Aha. So you're the person I would go to strike a deal.
Right.
I.e. selling out the trunk.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you tell me those stories? Like what legendary other albums of that level?
That was really that was it. Like Main Source didn't get their deal with Wild Pitch yet, but they were just coming to, they bring Watch Roger Do They Think, and it was creating somewhat of a buzz and something like that. But Due to James was big out of our store. Like, you know, records like that. We wasn't really, because you have to understand too, if they were doing it in Queens, they were doing it in the Bronx, they were doing it in Manhattan, they was doing it in Brooklyn. So it wasn't only us. They were going to other stores too. We had the Wiz like right around the corner, and the Wiz was doing the same thing.
Yeah, but was the Wiz was that a Crazy Eddie commercial store, i.e. like a Best Buy, or was that like a neighborhood store? I would assume that
if
you're a real hip hop,
it was a chain store, but it was big on Jamaica Avenue. It was big. It was big. Like, you know, whenever we would get new releases would come out on Tuesday.
Right.
But some people we would get our packages Friday evening, so we could at least put it out Monday night. But we would cheat and put it out Friday. So I remember when Tougher Than Leather came out, we put it out, and the Wiz put it out, and the Wiz was selling it lower than us. So we called Profile like, yo, the Wiz, they're selling it for like $6.99. Yep. And they
snitches get stitches, son.
How you gonna sell Tougher Than Leather without to the Wiz and not give it to us? So what Profile did was they shipped it to the Wiz and kept sending it to us, so we had it.
Oh wow.
Snitches get stitches, son.
Wow.
Ain't nobody from the Wiz looking for my ass today.
Don't nobody know what the Wiz is today.
Right.
Like it never existed.
Nobody
beats the Wiz.
Yo.
Y'all didn't have the Wiz in Philly? Y'all didn't have the Wiz?
We had it in DC. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We had it in DC. Yep.
Yeah.
It wasn't in North Carolina?
Nah, we have it down here. We had it in DC.
Nah, we had Crazy Eddie. Like,
right.
Oh, y'all had Crazy
besides
Eddie?
your traditional record store, Crazy Eddie's like probably somewhere in between our local, like our local joint was Sound of Market.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3.
Y'all had mom and pops, dope mom and pops.
Right.
Yeah.
Sound of Market was dope.
Yeah, definitely.
I gotta ask you, Walt. So Nation of Millions had the same effect on me.
Right.
And it was my dream to, like, even to this day, like, I still have not gotten my Bomb Squad nut off. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like, especially for the type of music I'm associated with.
Right.
But for you, was that level of kamikaze sampling like something that you wanted to do?
Bomb Squad was like next level, man. Like Bomb Squad to me back then was the closest thing you could get to the JBs and the, you know what I'm saying, and Fred Wesley and them. The way that Bomb Squad did their thing, and then when you found out that they use like all 48 tracks and sometimes the samples are off beat. Like every story you hear, it amazes you. You know what I'm saying? So everything that they would do, I would buy. I don't care if it was Jody Watley. I don't care if it was Belle Biv DeVoe. I don't care what it was.
Young Black Teenagers, Son of Berserk.
Son of Berserk, Young Black Teenagers, anything I would buy.
Vanessa
if it had Bomb Squad on, if it had Bomb Squad on it, I would buy it. Because I was such a fan of it.
But in terms of you trying to figure out what your style was.
I mean, we all did it though. We all tried to be like them, but eventually it was like, nah, we can't. This is not us. You got to make your own lane.
It's like, you know, it's like with the Bomb Squad, we tried, but we knew that wasn't us.
That wasn't us.
You know, so it's like you know how I tell people with DJing. You see somebody do a scratch, you go home practice that scratch, then you take that scratch and start developing it into your own type of scratch. You change it around so it becomes yours. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like the Bomb Squad thing. We seen how they layered samples, and we seen how they was doing their thing. We tried to do it, and we developed our own style doing that.
One thing we did take from them though, and I still do to this day, is layer beats.
Oh yeah.
Because Fight the Power is like what You Like It Too, and maybe Funky Drummer Put Together and stuff like that. We did that. We did that on Who Got the Props. We did that on Buck 'Em Down. We did that. Like we would layer drums
every record
to make it have a swing to it.
Yeah.
And we got that from the Bomb Squad.
Like now that it's 30 plus years after the fact, when you put on, like for me, the introduction that the world knows you guys by, of course, is Who Got the Props.
Right.
That was a mind-blowing revolution to hear that back in 93, because you got to understand, like, your average mainstream rap stuff was like UMC's Fast, you know, think of it like Dallas, think of like the intro to Playground by Another Bad Creation, like that chaotic, fast, heavy D dancing sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how did you guys manage to avoid that? Because for me, like, Who Got the Props was slowed down. You're using, you know, like 70s jazz, which was just unheard of. Like,
it was still up tempo though. It was like 98 to 100 BPMs, so it was still up tempo, but it was smooth. But you know, on the B side, our B side was
I was just about to say
that was like 114 BPMs and stuff like that. And the Beatminerz intro to the world wasn't even Who Got the Props. The Beatminerz intro to the world was Papa Law's remix.
Yeah.
Which one? The bass joint?
The East Coast remix. That was the Beatminerz remix. Yeah.
That was y'all?
But it was, listen, it was Beatminerz, but it wasn't me and Evil. It was, Beatminerz was a crew back in the day.
Right.
And one of the guys in the crew was on his way. His name was Ike Lee. Now, Ike Lee was responsible for CC Pennison and some Mantronics work, and what, you know, he was on his way to do other production, and that Ultramagnetic remix landed in his lap, and he was a part of Beatminerz, and he said, "Listen, I'm about to do this remix, and I'm gonna put it under the Beatminerz name," and that's what started the Beatminerz ride. Was that? So me and E took the reins. I made up Beatminerz, but Ike was the first one to put it up to put us on.
So how did you guys form? Like, tell me the story of how you guys.
This is a bunch of friends that we like. It was me, him, E, Baby Paul, and Ike Lee. We all met in Music Factory. Music Factory is like the meeting ground for all of this.
I didn't meet at Music Factory. I met Walt at the house.
Well, anyway, Music Factory was the meeting, the melting pot for everything, and that's where everybody met. We became friends. Everybody had everything that we had. The only thing we had in common was everybody just liked record shopping, beat digging, and production. So we just made up a crew. The name of the crew, the original name of the crew was Black Moon Production.
Yeah, can you explain this moonlighting connection with that, please? Please.
All right. So I was trying to make up a name for the crew, right? And I was doodling some things on the paper, and I just wrote down Black Moon. I was like, I like this, Black Moon Productions. I'm going to use this as the name for our production company. And I was rolling for that for a minute. E's crew name was High Tech.
Yeah.
That was the original name for Black Moon, was High Tech. I had a friend named Everett that worked with us. He said, "Yo, you guys are always finding records. I'm going to call you guys Beatminerz." And he was an MC too, and he made a song called Beatminerz. And I was like, "Yo, I really like that name. Can I have that name?" He said, "Sure." He gives me the name for Beatminerz. I was like, "Yo, okay, I'm not using the Black Moon name no more." He goes, "Yo, let me get that name for my crew." And I said, "Okay, sure." That's how the Black Moon name started.
All right, but can you explain this alleged moonlighting connection to it?
What you mean?
I'm hearing that
Walt was a big fan of moonlighting.
Please don't have to explain moonlighting, Lord.
Hold on. First of all, we're not giving no props we're not giving no props to Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis.
That
What?
has nothing to do with Black Moon.
Okay.
I ain't hear that. I heard otherwise.
For real? No.
So you weren't a fan of the show, Walt. That you was not a fan.
I love the show. I love the show.
I heard that Sybil and Bruce, their agency was the Blue Moon Agency.
Oh, I forgot. Good one, Ahmir. I forgot.
No, I said that before. I said that before.
I swear to God, Ahmir, I didn't even think about that until you just said that.
I said that before.
I thought that was the genesis of how Black Moon got their name. I was like, you dweeb ass nerds. Yes, I get it now.
Come on,
man. One of the best theme songs of all time.
Yeah, that is.
For sure.
Wow.
Wait, so hold on. You seriously thought
I said no, Walt, because I said that before. That's why.
I forgot it was the Blue Moon Agency. I forgot about that.
I was under the assumption because you watched every week.
Every Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
Walt was moonlighting. So as soon as I'm hearing Blue Moon, all of a sudden he's like, the name of the crew is Black Moon. Moonlighting.
But y'all didn't have a conversation, though.
That was
we
me.
didn't have the conversation.
They're brothers. They don't have to have conversations.
Yeah. I'm the one that put that out there. Yo,
you're an asshole. What you put that out there for?
Come on, man. Just own it. Own it. Come on, Walt. Just own that shit. Own it.
For years you telling people I got the idea from.
Yeah, no, Jake just hit us like he said it at the Red Bull Music Academy in 20 what year was it, Jake?
I thought that was why you picked Black Moon.
Man, that wasn't the reason why.
Yeah.
Well, it is now. No, I'm playing.
Oh my God. This is funny.
Oh God. All right.
We love you, Bruce Willis. We love you.
The thing is that all right, so you formed this crew. Now, when did it trickle down to the Beatminerz that I know? Like what's the journey that leads to what I assume is Enta Da Stage?
Paul was always with us, but Paul wasn't in the forefront. Ike went off to do Three Boys from Newark, and he went to do, like I said, CC Pennison. And
wait, Three Boys from New York. What did they morph into?
That was they're Lauryn Hill's people. It was Vincent.
Oh,
Vincent Herbert, right?
Yeah, Vincent Herbert.
Right.
He was in a group.
They were a production team. Vincent Herbert, Kiama Griffin, and I cannot remember the third brother's name. But
did they have something to do with I have a 12-inch that has Lauryn Hill singing on it. They're rhyming over Kool and the Gang's Too Hot, but she's singing Michael Jackson's the Jackson 5's One More Chance. It's a group, something from Newark, but I didn't know if they were a rap group or whatever. But I have like a white label of Lauryn Hill singing on a rap joint, like right before the score came out. But I didn't know if that was a rap group or not. Was that them or?
I don't think so. I think, but Ike was already gone because then after he left Three Boys from Newark, him and Bryce Wilson started something.
Oh wow!
Okay.
And then Ike just stopped doing music. I mean, he still comes in and out, but he stopped doing music. But it was a lot of records that you love that Ike really did the production on, but never got the credit.
Name him.
Get At Me, Dog.
Wow.
He did Get At Me, Dog. He did. He
would sweeten them up or like mix it or like.
He would give the demo tape to somebody. I mean, let's put it out there. He would give it to Irv, and Irv gave it to whoever. And
I get it.
Somehow Dame Grease. And listen, this is from what I heard. Dame Grease got it. He either looped up the same record or whatever. And Ike is the one who originally did that. I forgot what's the other song that Ike did too, E?
Wow. I
know he did the Mantronics King of the Beat.
Yeah.
He did
what?
He did the and when he did it on a Studio 440.
Have you ever met Mantronics? Curtis Mantronics?
No, never met him.
No, never met him.
All right, I just recently found him in Germany. He's my dream interview because his era of hip hop and I would say the Latin Rascals, like with what they do with editing.
Yeah.
I need to know how they did that shit because
Oh,
you
the
know,
editing thing is.
I'll still listen to the first Mantronics record and Cold Getting Dumb.
Right.
And just that level of editing and sampling, like you don't even hear it now. Like,
but when Mantronics went to Capitol, when he got the deal on Capitol, that's when Ike got into the fold.
Oh,
yeah, that's when Ike got into the fold, and Ike started making the beats.
Here's some nerd stuff for you, by the way. The same dude that did the editing on the Mantronic stuff that was on Sleeping Bag, is the same guy that did the editing for Ultimate Breaks and Beats. Guy was dead, Chep Nunez.
Chep Nunez.
Yeah.
So when we're listening to like Long Red,
he did.
Or
those.
I Know You Got Soul, when they have to edit those things, that's him doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know if they did that by tape edit? Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm
nerdy.
speaking inside baseball again. I'm speaking inside baseball. All right. So of course, some of those breaks were really dope, but they would just be 2 seconds. I.e., I Know You Got Soul, that we know, like you might have to do some trickery to make it seem like it's a 6-bar intro, when really it's just a quickie 1-bar intro. So they would take some of these records and re-edit them to extend it, so that way you're not going crazy, going back and forth on the turntables. So especially with Long Red, I wanted to know like how that shit was done, because the original version of Mountains Long Red from the Woodstock Festival, like the drum break goes by in seconds, whereas the compilation version is super extended. So who did those edits?
Chep Nunez.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was all back then. It was all tape.
Yeah.
So he had to splice and
Right. All analog stuff.
Yo.
Actually, you know, to keep it really 100. I mean, this is how. Like, of course, you know, we're saying hip hop is like we're rap music and looping and all that stuff. You guys would be astounded at the amount of cutting and pasting that I've discovered, like sort of trolling through a lot of these master tapes of acts. Like essentially it's the same thing. Like bands would go in. Super Freak is a great example. People think that Super Freak is soup to nuts 4-minute song that was played by no. They were fucking around in the studio, and literally in the last 7 seconds, it came. And the tape cuts off. So the way you know it's a loop, when you listen to the saxophone at the end, bro, Danny, that's a loop. Like, so the entire Super Freak is just a 4-bar loop that unfortunate assistant engineer had to spend all night cutting tape, making copy, cutting tape.
Really?
And which is why when I asked about the breakdown, like it's not even in rhythm, but there's so many slide masters I went through. Same thing. Loose booty on Small Talk. Same thing. Shit is chopped and paste. Like all of Bitches Brew. Same thing. So it's almost like they would have jam sessions, which was their digging in the crate shit. And then the engineer and the artist would sit and listen to what they did. I like those 4 bars. And then the assistant engineer would have to make a copy. They go away for a day or two, and he would have to make copies. And so, even, like, so our level of making music where you listen to some shit and you loop it, like that's been going on since, which I'm just mind blown about, which,
wow, that's crazy.
Especially when you consider like me not really being in this game to be a beat maker, but as a drummer, like some shit like Sly's Loose Booty, I'm like, God damn, like Andy Newmark is tight as shit. Like he doesn't budge or nothing on the beat. No, they just took a 4-bar loop and just looped them across. But my mind is thinking, I got to play that meticulous the way that Andy Newmark did it for 5 minutes, but only to find out it was looped. So,
yo, you know, quiet is kept. Do you know what other profession does that and don't get any respect on their name for it?
What?
Radio DJs make their own instrumentals sometimes off of just like,
Oh, yeah.
I used to do it. Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
like this part of the song and the rest of it is some bullshit. So I'm gonna just go in the Odyssey and cut it up and make my own instrumental.
Yo, you know who was nice on editing?
Who?
Angie Martinez.
Yep.
She's nice.
Yo, Angie
Splicing?
Martinez.
She's nice.
I went to Hot 97 to do some Black Moon promo stuff, and I seen Angie edit the phone calls.
Yeah, that's
And
what.
believe it or not, that's how I learned how to edit on tape.
Yeah.
So, that's a radio DJ. That's a radio
watched
DJ
Angie
thing,
Martinez.
y'all.
I
Yes.
watched Angie Martinez edit radio. Like she was nice with it. Bam, 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 bam. And
Cut tape?
I was, yep. Because
Yeah,
back in the
cut,
days,
splice, all that.
back in the days, what they would do when you would call a radio station, they record the calls to tape.
Right.
And then they would edit it. And by time it's time to play that call, that edit has to be done.
And shortened and not as long as the original.
And I've seen Angie, I watched Angie when we was up at Hot edit phone calls. And I was like, yo. And when I went back to D&D, I went into the editing room and taught myself how to edit.
You know what, Laia?
Hmm?
I gotta give you credit.
Because I had to edit you all the time when you would call a radio station.
No. Matter of fact, well, one, you were the only DJ on a commercial radio station that would let me in the building.
Wow.
That's for starters. Two, I forgot the first time I ever seen a playback machine was you, and I watched you edit some. I saw you do that with, and then I went home. Right. When Keel and I drove home, he was like, yeah, that's a playback machine. And I was like, yo, like, why don't we do that? And he was like, dog, you late. Like, everybody uses a playback machine on stage. That's why people can jump around without the record skipping, because they use a playback machine.
Who started hip hop cats using the playback machine, right?
Who?
Maceo.
De La?
Maceo was the first DJ ever to use the playback machine.
What made him do that?
He was at a radio station and he seen it. He was like, man. Yo, I want to use that because that way I don't have to bring all these records.
But when you think about it, it's crazy that like Donnie Simpson, Tom Joyner, all these people, like they have to be able to do this. Like they've done this.
Yeah.
With tape. Tom Joyner and with tape. Yeah.
Never knew that. All right. So we gotta push the timeline further.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
All right. So for me, the trademark of your productions is, of course, filtering.
Right.
Which what's the second song on Enta Da Stage?
Niggas Talk Shit is the second song.
Yes.
Yeah. Song on Into the
Filtering
Stage.
the bass line and whatnot. When we heard that shit, how are you guys learning what production is? Like, how are you guys knowing which equipment to use?
That's when the Casio RZ1 comes into play, and then Walt comes home with this sampler called the Akai 612.
Right.
The Akai 612 is like the parent of the 900, the S900 950 series. The only thing with the 612, instead of being able to sample 8 different things, it only sampled one thing. And on the front of the 612 is knobs. Okay. And one of the knobs is a filter knob. And me messing around with the sampler, I turned the filter knob and seen that it filtered the sample. Now, I'm thinking I'm the first one to ever do this, but Marley already did it already. I just didn't know.
Well, besides Vapors?
Huh?
Well, on Vapors?
Marley did it on, was it Vapors? Yeah, I think Vapors, and it was something else he did that it was filtered. And, you know, Pete and Tip and them was starting to experiment with filters too. But, you know, in my house, I'm like, yo, I just discovered something new.
I mean, we patterned our stuff after Sally Got a One Track Mind. Like when we heard Sally Got a One Track Mind, that opened everything. Like we patterned our sound after that. The reason why our filters sound different because we was using a Akai 612.
Yeah.
So what we would do is we didn't have like big equipment. So what we would do is whatever we would take our filter it down and put it on a cassette tape and then take it to the studio and tell the engineer.
Oh, y'all were pre-sample at home.
At home, right.
Yo,
check this out.
Loop that up, loop this
right.
up.
But check this out. We didn't get equipment until we did The Shining.
Well, we didn't get official equipment.
Yeah, we didn't get official equipment
until we did
The Shining.
Because we had the 612 and we had the RZ1.
When we got the money from Enta Da Stage, we took that money and went to go buy equipment to do The Shining.
So buck them down and
all
got the props and
all
I got you open.
Because it's no programming, it's all loops.
Right, it's all loops.
Yeah, everything on there, there's no programming on that. It's just all loops.
So when you're home, you're just bringing the ingredients to the studio and telling the engineer, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want.
Right.
What we did was we made the beat first at home. Put it on cassette. Put the different parts on cassette. The bass line, the drum loop 1, drum loop 2, noise, main loop.
Right.
And then we would go to the studio and be like, yo, Swift, loop number 1, that's loop number 1, loop this up. Okay, stop right there. Okay, here's the second part, loop this up. Stop right there. Put that on top of that, on beat. And loop number 3, okay, here we go. Put that on top of there. And right there, like exactly like we was directing everything.
We might have to soundtrack it to it. So wait a minute. So just based on the sonic quality of it, in my mind, I'm thinking like, yo, man, they're using special needles on it. Like the way that we would try to analyze and figure out why those drums sound so dirty. Like the amount of times I've had to go to Bob Power and play like the Come Live With Me drum break. Yeah, you laughing your ass off. Thanks. You know how much hours I wasted at Battery Studios? Shut up, man. Again, I'm just thinking, like, I'm thinking you guys would take your records and just throw them in the dirt.
No.
Nah.
Nah, we didn't do that. We would sample on cassette, take what we want, and just take it to D&D, and they would take it from the sample from the cassette back onto like the 2-inch.
Steve.
Wow.
This is why I purchased those.
Back to 2-inch.
Yeah, and we
I
were
have that tape.
And we ruined a lot of records messing around in the dirt.
Damn, that's crazy.
Is there still a 2-inch and Electric Lady? Is there still 2-inch machines in there?
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
Oh, okay.
It's you know,
but Brooklyn's actually more than that. Like I now like the good thing about the nerdy post Dat King set is now like that entire crew has mastered in ways like I go to Electric Garden now. Shout out to Ben at Electric Garden, and also, what's my other spot in Brooklyn, Steve?
Diamond Mine.
Yeah, Diamond Mine, especially. Like now, I could just go in and because they were raised on all of your music, they literally know the exact frequency that I can be out there in a half hour. Whereas like back in the day, that shit would take me months, just one frequency at a time, another frequency. And I didn't realize that you guys were pre-sampling at home on cassette.
On cassette.
Cassette is the key. Like now, damn, man, I might have to scrap this entire record and just start all over again and just do everything on cassette.
That's the good idea. There you go.
Like at the end of the day, it's like, you know, like all of us producer cats, you know, we're all mad scientists. And we all have our way of doing things. You know, once we learned how to operate the SP and the 950, we was doing stuff here. But the way we was doing it was running it through the Mackie board, and you run it through the mixer before then, and you pre-EQ the drums before you sample it. So that still added a grit to it too.
I didn't learn the SP. I didn't learn the SP until we were getting ready for The Shining. Q-Tip taught me the SP.
Wow.
I didn't, and you know, Q-Tip is the one who named me Mr. Walt.
Really?
what's Music Factory without Mr. Walt?
Mr. Walt, right? Phrase called
Yeah.
Torque. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that you did not have a moniker.
I didn't. I was going with Walter Dugard. I was like, you know what? If Eric Sermon could do it, I could do it too.
Yeah.
I'm going to be Walter Dugard. But
Walter Dugard.
Yeah, that was my name.
No, that's some Keith Murray shit.
Right, exactly. But Q-Tips, he called me Mr. Walt, and I just took it and ran with it.
Okay, so can you tell me, like, especially you guys were in what I call the Running with the Bulls era,
right,
of beat making, where, can you tell me, like, how deep and involved were you guys with, like, the record conventions? Were y'all there like 4 a.m. waiting?
Yep. Chip will come pick us up. Q-Tip will come pick us up. 4 o'clock in the morning, we were going to the Roosevelt Hotel, thinking that we had to jump on everybody. We're like, yeah, we're gonna get there first. Yo, once we walk in there, we're thinking we're there. We're number one. We're here. We turn to our left. Kid Capri and Pete Rock rented a room the night before. So I'm like, what kind of bullshit is this?
Yeah, these dudes was renting rooms, and they was like, as soon as the first dude brings his case in, they're down there.
Yep, they're there. Pete Rock is there already.
What you do to top him, Ahmir? What you do?
I was in the generation after.
So say, yeah.
Okay. But they still
like this the slim picking for gold mining is between 89 and like 92. Like, if you find shit during that period, then your life is golden. I came after the fact, and I would just hear stories. I'd hear stories of like Pete berating dealers for, like, he would buy like the entire catalog of an artist just so that, like, Biz and Pete, where I heard, would buy an entire, like, if there's 8 copies of a particular record, they would buy them all to make sure that no one else took it.
Yeah,
like,
you can't stop that from happening.
At your pettiest. Well, okay, so I'll ask a question. Even though this is like super late in the game, I know that you guys were the first to use, actually the second, because no one ever credits OC for using it on an interlude.
The interlude.
Oh, the Little Boy Blues.
Yeah.
Right. OC was the first.
Let's take it to who got the props, because the thing is that y'all did it first, and of course Usher and everybody comes behind it.
Yeah.
Like, are you feel some sort of way about not getting the shine off at first, or hip hop is just open sport and it's like a reggae rhythm, anybody can rhyme over it? Like, what is your attitude towards, like, in terms of?
I'm gonna be real.
At the time, how did you feel as opposed to now?
What was the Usher record, y'all? What was the Usher?
The first
record?
Don't make me lose my mind.
That was
on the first album.
I didn't feel no type of way about the Usher thing.
Yeah, Usher thing was cool.
It was cool. You know when I felt away, and this is the first time I've ever said this in an interview, I felt away when the Trackmasters used Soundboy Burial for Mary and Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
We had just put Soundboy Burial out. They went behind us, looped up our record, gave it to Mary first, and I guess it didn't work, or they gave it to somebody first, it didn't work, and then they either gave it to Mariah or Mary after that. That's when I was like, come on, dude. Like, we just put this record out, dude. Like, let the record breathe a little bit. You went right behind us and jacked our beat. So I felt some type of way about that.
And I kind of felt the way like that about Intro, when Intro used
Quincy Jones thing.
My whole thing is this: like, I'm not even checking for money. Right. Just be like, yeah, we got it from there. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my thing with that, and I was kind of tight behind that, But yo, man, homeboy passed, so I was like, I'm not gonna say nothing about it, because then I'm gonna look like a hater.
In terms of production, like, are you guys involved at all in terms of also structure of the song, horses, Ruck and Rock, like y'all could do that better, da 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 da. Like, are you guys also micromanaging as far as vocal sessions, or is it just like, here's the beat, all right, good luck?
We in the beginning, we wasn't really like that. Like I would say stuff like I told after Buck did how many MCs, he did how many MCs in one take, right? I said to him, you sure you want to keep your vocals that way? You don't want to change it? He said, trust me, Walt, I'm going to keep this the way it is. And I said, okay. You know what I'm saying? But usually we just let them go. But as we got older and started doing more records, we became more vocal about, yo, do your vocals this way. Do this, do that, you know.
Who's the one that suggested, especially for I Got You Open, for Buckshot to use his laid back mellow flow instead of his hype who got the props flow?
Oh, that was Buck.
Buckshot.
That was Buck.
Buckshot. Yeah.
Buck came in and was like, yo, like when we was doing not even I Got You Open, we was doing the Buck 'em Down remix.
Buck 'em down, Buck 'em
Buck
down. What was first?
Well, I Got You Open was first.
I Got You Open. No, my mistake. I Got You Open was first.
Okay.
Yeah. The Buck 'em Down remix dropped. The Buck 'em Down remix dropped after or before?
After.
Okay. My bad. It was mad long ago. I'm old. But like when Buck came into the studio, it's like it was a different flow. Because being that we was on the thing where we're gonna remix everything every 12 inch we put out, Buck was like, yo, if they're gonna change the beat, I'm gonna change the flow.
Mm.
You know?
And how did y'all feel when y'all heard it? Like, because it's so night and day from what he was known at. Like the original verse was super hype. It's almost like, you know, listen to Parents Just Don't Understand versus Summertime. Like, whoa, what the hell is this?
Right.
It was dope.
I think he did whatever fit the moment. So Who Got the Props was like a more up tempo vibe. So he hit it that way. But then when we started slowing the record down and smoothing the records out, that's when he started becoming, he came with the laid back style. The Barry White situation was all him. That was him. Yeah. He was like, I want to rhyme off of that. And I was too busy trying to impress Large and Pete and Premier and Q-Tip. So I'm trying to find the most obscure record. Buck and Tech and Steel, they wasn't thinking about that. They was like, yo, we want to rhyme off of this, this, and this. And I was like, nah, we're not going to rhyme off of that. So Buck was like, yo, I want to rhyme off the Barry White stuff. And then one thing about Buck, he talks to you like he's a car salesman. So you always feel like you're buying a goddamn car from this dude. He says to me, hey, man, because Barry White was a gangster, man. He was a gangster. And we need to keep the gangster vibe going. And I'm looking at him like, motherfucker, you don't get the fuck away from me. It's shit.
Yo, but at the end of the day, it was like, yo, we did it. And that was...
I'm listening to y'all talk. That's crazy because as I don't want to say a female hip hop fan in a way, but it's just crazy that was his motivation. Meanwhile, I'm sure that some of us girls was listening like, oh shit, this nigga can slow it down. This shit is dope. We weren't even thinking about it from a Barry White being a gangster. It was more like what Barry White's, public perception is. So
trust me, that wasn't his intention. He was like, he just was trying to fit the moment and of what we was trying to do.
What was production wise like? What was the what did you learn making The Shining that you didn't know, like as far as production techniques and whatnot? Like how did you get wiser?
Progression steps. Because we recorded Enta Da Stage from 12 midnight to 6 in the morning. So
at D&D?
At D&D, 12.
Why? What is it about D&D? Like, why would y'all choose D&D?
We got.
They've never flushed that toilet like in 20 years.
But see,
yo, hold on. Before we say that, I remember when I brought you to D&D.
Yes.
You were like, yo, this place is crazy.
Yeah, man, because I was a tourist from. Yo, I've told this story before, but my favorite.
Ahmir, come on.
Well, I mean, D&D was just a grimy ass spot.
Yeah.
it was.
Premier bring us there though. Premier bring us there.
I don't even want to say it's like the projects of studios, but it was like you come in. No, it's just super grimy. It's like blunt ashes from yesteryear still on the floor. Bathrooms barely work. Yo, the day that you guys worked on silent treatment,
right?
When the pool table is in the hallway,
right.
Dog, for like 45 minutes straight, I only heard this bell ringing. Ding, 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 ding. After 45 minutes of that, I snuck to the other room to see where that bell was doing.
Right.
And it was Premiere and Karis 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Starting the genesis of what we would know as MCs act like they don't know. Like they were literally working on that while you guys were in the B room working on the silent treatment remix.
Right. No, actually it was backwards. We're in the A room and Premiere and them in the B room.
Oh, okay.
The B room is Preem's room.
Yeah, the A room was Beatminerz and the B room was Premiere.
But you know what? Lai is right, man. D&D was the project of the studio. It was.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing with D&D, right? I'm gonna break down D&D. I'm gonna break down the whole thing with D&D, right? D&D. First of all, we started at Calliope.
Right.
Calliope had no outboard gear whatsoever. The outboard gear consisted of a tape deck, a DAT recorder. They had no outboard gear in Calliope.
Wow. But Bob Power worked there in 3 Feet on Mars. It was made
But
there.
that's why Bob Powers is a genius.
Because he had nothing to work with?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Now, Calliope, what happened was we got kicked out of Calliope.
How'd you get kicked out of Calliope?
Why?
Would you like me to tell the story?
Tell the story.
Tell the story.
So we're recording, I forgot, we were recording maybe Slave or something. And Havoc came to visit us in the studio.
You said Havoc.
Havoc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mob Deep Havoc.
Because Havoc is on You the Man. So he had came to the studio to visit us. And the guy who owned Calliope, his name was Chris. He lived in Jersey. He left the studio to go home because, again, we recorded 12 midnight to 6 a.m. Havoc somehow tripped the alarm, right? Chris had to come back home from his house all the way back to Manhattan to 30th Street, and he was mad. So he was like, you guys tripped the alarm. You guys were doing something you wasn't supposed to do. You guys are banned from my studio. Get out. Blah, blah, blah. So E's the boisterous brother. Fuck you. I don't want to come back here any goddamn way. And then we just left.
Yeah, I took all my 2-inch tapes and left. Like, yo, we out of here.
Damn.
Come on, guys.
The funny thing is, so that morning, I'm walking. I have the 2-inch tapes. I'm taking them to Nervous Records. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not taking them home.
Right.
So I'm taking them to Nervous Records. Nervous Records was in Times Square at the time. Nervous Records was on Broadway between 43rd and 44th, right across from MTV. So I'm walking to Nervous Records. I turn the corner of Broadway. Who do I bump into? Premiere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yo, so Premiere's like, yo, what's up with that album? How's it going? And I'm like, yo, man, we just got kicked out of Calliope, blah, 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 blah. And Premiere says to me, look, I'm at this studio. I'm the only hip-hop dude there. Come by and, yo, check it out. You might like it. You can record there. We'd be the only hip-hop dudes there working. And I was like, bet. So Premiere, this is exactly what he says to me. My session starts at 12. I'll be there around 3-4. So come through. And I was like, all right. And I went and checked out D&D. Premiere showed me his room, which was Studio B. And I was like, yo, this is dope. And then Dave from D&D takes me to Studio A.
Mm-hmm.
And when I walked into Studio A, I was like, yo, this is it. Like Studio A it sounded like my basement. And I turned around and looked at the outboard gear. I seen they had enough outboard gear in there. And I was like, yo, this is it. And what was the first session we did, Walt? What?
Maybe I got you open.
Yeah, I got you open.
I think I got you open.
Yeah, it was the first session we did there. And once we did the session there, we never left.
Wow.
Wow.
We never left. Like, and it was like, and the thing about D&D is D&D had the sound. Like that MCI board. They had an MCI tape machine.
That was an MCI?
And yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it sounded nice and warm in there. Like, you know, we went to Battery. Battery was nice, but it was too clean for what we was
too pristine.
Doing. Yeah, and it's like D&D fit us right. Now let me explain the bathroom thing.
Mm-hmm.
The bathroom you went to was not the real bathroom.
Ooh.
The real bathroom was in the office.
That was clean.
That bathroom you went to was the bullshit bathroom. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, at the end of the day, D&D, like we went to D&D and we just fell in love. And I'm the nerd geek nerd when it comes to like recording, and you know, I'm the dude that use the pull tech, like that's me. Walt is just I know these Walt's knowledge of records, like, you know, and I tell people this all the time, Walt's knowledge of records, you're not gonna find nobody that knows more about records than Walt.
I agree.
If you go to Walt and say, I need a record with a drum that sounds like this, Walt 9 out of 10 will pick out 3 records and go, check these out.
Wow.
See, E is the nerd of Beatminerz, and I'm the record guy. That's why my camera ain't fucking working, because he's the nerd.
Like, and even with D&D, like the thing with D&D was I learned how to engineer at D&D.
Okay.
Like, I learned the patch bay. I learned what mic to use. I learned, like, D&D is what taught me. The way I record today is what I learned at D&D. And, you know, because during those sessions, I was watching everything. Like, and as a matter of fact, Who Got the Props was recorded at Such a Sound studio with Slow-Mo Sonnenfeld was the engineer. What happened was me and Slow-Mo got into a big argument because I was telling him how I want the record to sound. And Slow-Mo goes, "Oh, you think you know everything? You mix the record. The mix you hear on that record is the mix that I did."
Aha. He wanted to clean it up.
Now he wanted to clean up, and he wanted it to sound like he was like, you gotta make the drums sound like this. That drum loop, you need a drum machine. And I'm like, no, you don't. I know what I'm doing here. And it you know, and that session was so bananas. It got to the point, I think Walt came and something was said. Walt was like, I'm out before I kill somebody. Like, that session was so bananas. Like, I mixed that, and I mixed the B-side Fuck It Up. Because it was like, I knew what sound we was looking for, you know? And like, after that, I was like, you know what? We need to go. When we went to Calliope, we went to Calliope because Calliope was cheap. And Calliope was the studio that everybody was. They had like a special package from midnight to 6 a.m. I think we was getting the room for what, $25 an hour, Walt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why.
What was it on peak? What was it peak hours?
It was like what, 60, 80, maybe 100.
And you're saying that D&D was, quote, the non-hip hop spot. What were they doing before you guys turned it into hip hop's home?
Freestyle music and
dance to freestyle.
And they did the Fat Boys actually was like, I think the first dudes that recorded there, the hip hop dudes. They recorded like 1 or 2 records there. But they did a lot of freestyle stuff. They did like a couple reggae records, but they was known for like dance.
So Stevie B and
Latin
Rascals type shit.
Yeah.
One time we was in the studio and Noel was there.
Silent Morning Noel.
Yeah. And I'm looking at him like, what are you doing here? Like,
nice.
But yeah, that's what they was doing, dance music.
One thing about D&D, you will meet anybody in D&D, like people you would even think that would be there. Every Saturday, if we would record on a Saturday, Tashina Arnold will be in there doing her demo.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh.
What? Yo, can you talk about working with Sean Price and like Ruck and Rock from Helter Skelter?
Yo, that dude was a different guy. Yo, one day we were working on maybe The Shining, I'm not sure, but Paz the news that came to see me in the studio. I bring him upstairs. I want to introduce him to Ruck and Rock. So I bring Paz in. First person we see is Sean. So I said, yo, Sean, yo, Ruck. This is my man Merce, Paz. Paz, this is Ruck. You know what he says to Paz? Yo, what? Son, I'm nice, son. I'm nice, son. I could boogie on this mic, son. I'm nice. I'm nice. I bust anybody ass, son. What? I said, please excuse him.
He pops his face like,
yo,
he's in Pop's face. Like Pop's like, yo, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, please excuse him. This is just how he is. This is him. But that's how he was. He was a prank, like a jokester. But
I've seen many sides of him. Like
right. But he
could
was
have been a
great
comedian.
Dude. Yeah, he could have been a comedian. But he was a great guy, man. He was a great guy.
By the way, I just gotta tell you, the day that we first heard Onslaught on the
I remember you told me. I remember.
If you watch us and Busta Rhymes on SNL, we snuck 8 bars of that in on
really?
Like we heard it that day.
Yeah.
And we were backstage having a meeting, like, yo, man, I want to rhyme over that shit. And we were like, yo, we didn't clear the song with SNL. Like, we're supposed to do. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Matter of fact, Thought it's going to spit 4 bars too. And literally, like, for us, we thought we was like committing a crime. Like, yo, we ain't telling Sylvia Rome, we ain't telling nothing. But the last 16 bars of that shit, we doing that Black Moon shit. And literally, yo, that's like one of my favorite shits of.
Yo.
That's all Evil D. That's all Evil D. That's my favorite Black Moon record of all time.
Yo, that record is me playing a mini moog.
Word?
The bass line is me playing a mini moog.
I'm speaking of the Onslaught on Black Moon's 1999 album. What was the title of that record?
Warzone was the name of the album.
Warzone. Yeah, Warzone was
Warzone. Oh, also, dog, on 2 MCs and a mic, the heart.
2 turntables and a mic.
2 turntables and a mic. Why? What was on your mind when you did that kick pattern? To this day, like I've never heard someone, not John Jabbo Starks from the JBs, do 16s on the kick drum. Who programmed that?
He did all that.
What it was I was following the pattern of heartbeat.
Right, but that's the thing. You could have chose the other part where they're just playing the shit normal, i.e. Buddy. You chose the hardest part to loop.
Yeah, but that's just me. Like you using the same record, but you're trying to be different.
You're trying to be different. You don't want it to sound like it's the same.
Yeah.
We didn't want to sound like De La. You know what I'm saying? So we wanted to be a different swing.
Yeah. Like 2 turntables and a mic was basically a segue. We used to do that on the first time me and you met, which was at a show in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
We did 2 turntables and a mic. That was a segue we used. And when we got back home, we was like, yo, we need to make that into a record. Now the whole thing happened with Nervous where, we left Nervous Records, blah, 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 blah. And we still, like when me and Buck sat down to do Warzone, Buck was like, that heartbeat thing, we need to do that. But it's like like I said, it was us.
But it was just so risky to put 16 bar patterns on the kick drum where
still is.
That's just unheard of. Which
I'm a nerd.
For me, it was like, why would they? I spent more times like, why would they do that? But what will eventually happen is I now do that to this day, and I can't stop doing it.
Oh,
Like, you ever
okay.
be so obsessed with something that you either don't understand or you hate, and then you wind up turning to that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Like-
right now, I'm like that pattern probably, I'm still obsessed over why you did it, because it's right, kind of wrong, but still right. Like,
Dare to be different, man. Dare to be different.
That
Like the
song,
whole,
two turntables and a mic was supposed to be in House Party 2.
yeah,
It was made for the House Party 2 soundtrack.
yeah.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
we recorded that record twice.
Right.
We recorded it once, and when we recorded the first time, that's when we did it regular. We looped up the regular part and everything. And when we did that, it was like, yo, this is gonna be dope. And then the whole nervous thing happened. So after that, it was like, whatever, you know. And then when Buck was like, let's do that heartbeat thing, it was like, you know what? We're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it a little different. You know, we're gonna try to make it sound a little different than everybody else's version of heartbeat.
Okay.
You know.
You know, we're wrapping up in a little bit, but I do also want to get to the fact that you guys were super early. Like, of course, post pandemic, everybody was DJing online and whatnot, and you guys were like super early on that. What was the genesis of you guys starting your own internet radio station and DJing online long before the D-Nices of the world? Like, you know, again, the pandemic brought everyone out as far as DJing online, but you guys were super early to it. What was the genesis of that?
In 1996, I was, you know, my homeboys Mark and Randy, they had an internet show. Now this is 1996.
Mm-hmm.
They had an internet show called 88 Hip Hop.
Yes.
88. Mark and Randy ran 88 Hip Hop. They came to me and was like, "Yo, can you help us produce this show?" And I was like, "Yo, why not? Let's do it." And when I went to them, they was like, "Yo, why don't you do your own thing also?" And when they said that to me, you know, the first thing I did was like, "Yo, Walt, da 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 da," and you know, we sat down, and that's how Beatminerz Radio was born. Like 88 Hip Hop is the first hip hop station.
Yep.
Second, Beatminerz.
Okay.
And then
And you know,
when we started doing it online, Maceo is the one that said, "Yo, guys need to bring it over here." That's when we were doing it on Ustream.
yeah, but that's down the line. Like we, you know, Beatminerz Radio, we was doing that 90s, the 90s. Then the 2000 thing with the .com thing happened. Pseudo, which was our parent company, died. So that was the end of it for a minute. But we did it, like we had Beatminerz Radio offline on power on 105.9 WNWK. For a second, we had it there. And then what happened was we kind of started again with another internet radio station. But that radio station, they wasn't maintaining their equipment. So, you know, one day we went there and the equipment was messed up, so we decided to just leave. Maceo was on Ustream. And Maceo hits us up. "Yo, y'all need to come on Ustream." And I logged on, Maceo's rocking. And he's like, "Yo, set up an account. Make your own, you need to be on here." And that's what restarted Beatminerz Radio again. What year was that, Walt?
2008, 2009.
2008 it was. And we restarted Beatminerz Radio online 2008. But before that, we had, you know, we was doing Beatminerz Radio like podcast and Beatminerz Radio offline. So we kept it alive. But 2008 was when we restarted again, and we were streaming live from right here in the house.
Okay.
And we've been doing it from 2008 till now.
So with hip hop blooming, as it has since you first started 30 years ago, it's going through a whole giant metamorphosis. How have you guys been able to navigate in terms of like, do you still get a thrill of making beats? Are you challenging yourself to try different ideas out or whatnot? Or is it like, look, this is our formula, this is our recipe, we're sticking to it? Like, do you still get a thrill of digging for records and the whole process of unearthing some gems that the world hasn't heard before? Like, is it still a thrill for you to make and create stuff?
Yeah, that's never gonna die. Like that's our thing. Like we still follow the blueprint that we laid down, but we listen to what's around us and we listen to everybody, and we try to add little pieces here and there, but we mainly keep our same sound, you know, and the same technique that we've been using. And as far as for the digging goes, we still go digging like all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's not gonna stop. Like,
yeah, you know, it's never gonna stop.
I always tell people this: it's new equipment, but it's the same people.
Right.
Like, you know, instead of using the SP and the 950, now we use MPC Renaissance, MPC X, Ableton, and plugins.
Did it take you long to adjust to that, or was it like, were you kicking and screaming to adjust to change?
Not well. Me wise, I'm the technology dude.
Yep.
So I'm always looking in and trying to figure things out. Law Finesse, OG, DJ OG, and King of Chill taught me Ableton.
Okay.
You know, and you
King
know,
of Chill is now Premier's
Creepy Clown. Yeah.
Yeah, Premier's full-time engineer. He used to be MC Lights.
Right.
Yeah.
DJ.
Like, those are the dudes that taught me Ableton. And it's like, once I learned Ableton, I was like, what? We could do this? And, you know, and the same thing with the Renaissance. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, it made my job easier.
What's your weapon of choice now?
MPC Renaissance and Ableton. And a whole bunch of records.
Have you ever pulled out the old tools to try it again?
I still have it plugged up. Like, what I do is every once in a blue, I will sneak back to the SP, because here's the thing. Everybody wants to emulate that sound. I don't have to emulate it. I have one. Everybody wants that 950 sound. I don't have to emulate it. I just go sampling the 950 and then dumping it to Ableton.
What is it about that? Because the 950 is the one device that I feel like all the gods have used and swore by that I have not. First of all, I can't find. I think once I used the 950 like during Do You Want More, like Bob had one, but he operated it. I didn't. What is it about the 950 that holds holy for every god of hip hop production?
It's a warm sound.
It's
a nice warm sound to it.
It's like the 950 has a, like, back then when they made equipment, it had different. The equipment had different sounds. It's like, for instance, like I tell everybody, the best sound in MPC is the MPC 3000. To me, that's the best sound in MPC.
Yeah, that's the best sound in one.
The 950 also had a sound, and when you did filters in the 950, I don't know what it was, but it just sounded crunchier and heavier and better, and it had that sound that all those old records had.
Right.
Like, if you listen to a filter on a Black Moon record, it's not just the bass line, it's the
undercurrents.
The 950 brings that out,
Right.
And it's like the 950 at the same time was like the SP 1200 and 950 was partners. You couldn't break up that partnership.
Now, keep in mind, I use a totally different equipment. Like,
what do you use?
I'm using an X and MPC 1.
Yeah,
like I go back and forth. So, you know, I use that. But before that, I was on a 3000 for like 20 years. I was on a 3000.
Couldn't let it go.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
Walt's the dude that. Now, here's the thing. Walt's usually the dude that, like, I gotta be like, Walt, come on, Walt, Walt, like the MPC X we was in not Guitar Center. We was at
Manny's maybe.
no,
Sam
not
Ash?
Manny's, Sam Ash. We was at Sam Ash, and Walters goes, "Let me get the MPC-X." And I'm looking at him like, "Really? This is what you gonna buy?" I'm buying a keyboard. Walt's like, "Let me get the MPC-X." And Walt gets into the house, and you didn't see Walt for weeks. And he's right upstairs, but I didn't see him for weeks. But that's how we both are with stuff like, yo, when I learned how to use the Renaissance, Walt looks at King of Chillin' and goes, "You're not gonna see E for another few months because you're gonna be in the house. Watch."
I see. Have any of you tried the new 1200?
Nah.
What the
Stro Elliott, what up, Stro? Oh, Stro's hearing all your nerd talk.
Stro Elliott is that guy.
Hey, talk about it, y'all. Ain't it the truth? Yes, he is.
That's my guy right there.
Man, that dude is dangerous.
Yes, he is.
Hey, I learned from the best, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's like you talking about the Pioneer joints?
Yes.
I use them static, because Hidden Tiger, which is the old, Static is partners now with them.
Okay.
They just bought those turntables. I was the first DJ to use them at Hidden Tiger this Saturday. Yo, I fell in love with those I'm really like, yo, Walt, we're gonna have to do some legal business because I need a pair of those turntables. Those turntables are incredible. I fell in love with them turntables. Like I was like, you know what? I gotta get a pair.
All right. Last thing. I know that you guys you're working with Chris, right? Are you doing the whole album or just a single with KRS-One?
No, that single was from our album.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that you're doing an entire.
Let me tell you something. We were supposed to. We have so many songs with Chris. We were supposed to, but it's communication broke down. Like I just,
Well, actually, no, I'm sorry.
I will do it.
My raps will.
But that
will destroy you.
That's the first single from our album that's coming out in May, June. Stifle Creativity. We got that was the first single. The next single is a song. We have a song called My Year that's featuring De La, Rashid Chappelle, Pharoah Monch, and Corey Glover from Living Color.
Oh, give us some more. Give us some more records. What else is on there? Because I feel like
we got of course a Black Moon song. We got Steel and Fame from MOP on a song. We got Rusty Jux. We got AZ. We got Al Scratch. We got
Al Scratch.
Look up and down.
Yep, we got 2 songs from Razcast.
Yes.
Bishop Lamont. I'm trying to remember. We got Monifa on the album.
Okay.
I always forget all these. Oh, we got Keith Murray on the album.
We got Apathy.
So we got some things coming. Summertime should be fun.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, that's what it is. Yo, man, I thank you two for doing this episode with us.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for the music.
Having us, man.
You're the nicest gentleman in music.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, sir.
I just wanted to say, man, like for just as a longtime fan of y'all's and just, being when LB first came out, y'all were one of the first, one of the OGs to really show us love. You know what I'm saying? I remember like Eva D, you coming to our album release party and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
you guys changed the game.
The break and everything.
Yeah.
I remember when we met up at Fat Beats.
Yes, indeed.
I told y'all to meet me at Fat Beats, and we was at Fat Beats hanging out. I remember that.
You gotta understand, it's like I'm a fan of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like just like people are a fan of mine. Like like I'm that type of person where it doesn't hurt me to give credit where credit is due. You know what I'm saying? Like if you made something dope, trust me, I'm like this. And like y'all inspire me to work. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Quest, because it's like he'll like when they did what was the joint where y'all looped Saturday night?
Oh, that's
without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, just another Saturday? Yes.
I was like, yo, this is kind of hot. But his drum playing, like, come on, it's been plenty of times where I stole a kick and stole a snare, you know.
That's what it's there for, man. I'm feeding the masses.
Hey, can I just say something real quick, y'all, before y'all go? Because me and Jake were just talking about this. The evolution of the backpacker and where it has gone and all the derivatives, it's just a beautiful thing. And I know sometimes it used to be a bad word because when people call me a backpacker, I'd be offended. But now it is because when they was shiny suits calling me a backpacker, but now I'm just saying the evolution.
That was Kev calling you a backpacker.
But
who else calling you a backpacker?
Back in the day when I was going to see y'all, when I was going to see Boot Camp Click at the Ibex and everybody else was going to the Go-Go, we was wearing our backpacks at the club. Like, yeah, we was backpackers.
Wow.
Yo,
yes.
At the end of the day, man, I'm just like, this is definitely dope, man. I want to thank y'all, man.
Yeah, for real.
And Walt put me on to the podcast. Because Walt was like,
thank you, Walt.
You need to listen to this.
Yo,
and
I love this is my favorite podcast. Like, I love this podcast.
Oh, man, thanks.
Walt came in here on some, yo, guess what podcast we're doing? And I'm looking at him like, what's wrong with you?
You did that like the cartoon cheering. You did that like Brown Hornets about to come on. Like,
yeah.
All right. So normally I do my sign off. Shout out to the family of QLS, but this one time, Sir Evil, can you please give us a benediction and just do it one time for me?
Evil D is on the mix. Come on, kick it.
Thank you very much. We will see you next week. All right, y'all.
Yeah,
thanks
my
a
day
lot.
is great. My day is great.
You guys are the best.